I can hear you and I can see you. How are you, Andy?
Cool. I'm good, man. How are you?
Everything is good. It's
Love that.
great weather today for a change.
Where are you?
In Lisbon, Portugal.
Oh, great place.
Yeah. We have our days. Yeah.
Portugal's a cool country, man.
Yeah. How is everything with you? Busy days?
Yeah, just doing press, working, getting the set together for the North American tour, doing all that stuff. So yeah, busy.
Very good. And you guys did a European tour. How did it go?
It went really well. Yeah, the shows were great. We took out Cynic, Beyond Creation, and Doth, and they were all great guys, great bands. Got along real well. Went about as well as you could hope for, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's good. And, let's talk about the new record, self-titled. When did you guys start working on the songs for the album? I mean, the first single, that's the first song on the album, was released already 2 years ago. So I suppose you guys started already working on the songs for a while.
Well, that particular one, we started working, Suborbital Blues we're talking about, I had that main riff lying around for a while, but I showed it to Brody in September of 23. That would have been when we started, and that was the first thing that we started working on for the album too. So September 23 is when we started working on the album in general. Yeah. And
normally, how does the songwriting process works with Rivers of Nihil?
Well, it's a little different now with me because it used to be, Brody pretty much wrote everything, and they had another guitar player, and he contributed a little bit, but not very much. And Brody just kind of took the helm. Brody is still in charge of writing, and Brody still writes, the majority of the material. But on this record, I presented a lot of stuff that did get used as well. But so I'll give Brody an idea, and he'll develop it along with his ideas, and we'll kind of go back and forth like that. A good example of a real back and forth between he and I would be House of Light. That was a super collaborative effort between he and I. And then Biggs writes all the lyrics, and then we get in the studio and we figure out how the melodies are going to go and everything, and that's how it goes.
Yeah. So you guys, during the writing process, you never get together, to work on those ideas, or it's just work individually, have the songs on
together. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's difficult because I live in Arizona, Biggs lives in Virginia, and Brody lives in Pennsylvania. So, and Jared lives in Nevada. So we don't really see each other much aside from touring and recording. But yeah, everything is done remotely. Brody's very, very savvy with audio and home recording and audio engineering and stuff. So we end up with demos that a lot of people would probably use for an album.
Yeah. And so when you get in the studio, so those ideas are basically dusted, but you perfected them in the studio. How long did it take when you guys entered the studio to finish the recordings?
Good question. I don't because we did 4 songs earlier, and I don't remember when that was anymore. But we did Suborbital, Criminals, Hellbirds, and Water and Time, which is going to be the next single that comes out in a couple days, I think. But we recorded those, and then we went back into the studio a year later, recorded everything else, and actually did a lot of adding stuff to Suborbital, and we added sax, we added banjo to Criminals and stuff like that. Redid some stuff in Water and Time. And I guess the album's been done for about a year. Yeah. But that's how it goes now. It's kind of weird because by the time your album comes out, it's you've kind of moved on not moved on, but I've heard it so many damn times now that I don't really. It's an interesting thing, Yeah. It's okay, it would be it feels like it's time to do another one.
And are you already getting ideas for it? For the songs?
Yeah, always.
How normally, what is your thought process behind, songwriting? You sit with the guitar and you jam, and if you find a cool idea, you take note of it and then you develop it. How does it work with you?
That's exactly how it works for me. And I've always like in my old band, I had a writing partner. It's my bass player, Nick Shaw. And now I have Brody. So I'm really not a guy who generally will sit down and write a song. I very much thrive in a more collaborative environment. I've always been that way. But Brody is a guy who he'll be like, well, I wrote a song in 5 minutes, and he's always working on shit like that. So it's different for me and Brody, but together there's a lot of ideas all the time.
Yeah. And
yeah, very, very much I'll just sit there and play guitar and have an idea,
Yeah. So, you joined the band a few years ago now. You have pretty much had like a, free reign or carte blanche, so to say, to be yourself in the band? Or did you have to kind of fit in because the band already exists for a while? They have their identity. How did it work with you? It was like an easy process to come in a band and just take over?
Well, I won't say it was an easy process because, like, the very nature of how I joined the band, I had 2 weeks to learn 80 minutes of music. And, I've said this before, but, like, I'm glad that I think everyone should go through that once, but not twice. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that ever again. So it was inherently stressful, but on the personal side of things, like, I've known these guys for so long. I've known Brody and Biggs for at least 15 years. And I've said this before as well, but like I was at, I think, the second Rivers of Nihil show. I was at the party where they got to celebrate them getting signed to Metal Blade Records. I've just been around that band and been friends with them for so long that interpersonally it wasn't very difficult at all. I mean, we've always been friends, but and they've always encouraged me to, since I joined the band, to be a part of the band.
Yeah.
And actually, and that I think was harder for me to understand what that meant than them, because they brought me in knowing what they were gonna get, and I still think it's very important to respect what they've done before.
Yeah.
So it took me a minute to integrate musically because I was cautious. But now it's just the four of us. We're the band, and we're four dumb dudes that get along pretty well.
Well, getting along, that's, the main thing for a band to thrive, so to say, So.
Yeah, I think we're lucky in that regard now. With this lineup, we probably get along better than most bands, which is cool.
Cool. And, you mentioned on this record, the banjo or the sax, participations there on the record. Those moments, are those planned, or when you get in the studio, you feel like, it would be nice to have like a banjo sound kind of here, or the sax solo or something? How does, integrating guests on the Rivers of Nihil music, how that comes about? It's the song that asks for it, or it's just something that you guys want to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's always what the song asks for, and that's a very hippy-dippy way of putting it, but it's true. As far as the sax goes, I mean, we have, Patty, our sax player, I guess it's not on paper, but he's technically a member. I mean, we bring him out on every tour now, and we love him. And he did a great job on that album. So there's things on that album were planned, right? It's like, okay, we're going to put a sax part here. But then there was stuff that when he went into the studio to record, he just laid down himself. And have you heard the album?
Yeah, I heard the album, yeah.
So the end of Despair Church, where it's the strings and piano and sax, that originally wasn't planned to even have sax, and it ended up being my favorite sax part on the record. So, yeah, it's just there's many ways to skin the musical cat in that regard. But like the banjo, our merch guy and dear friend Stefan is a very good banjo player. So he comes to the studio and hangs out, and like, hey, why don't you put banjo there? He's played banjo on a few of our albums over the years. He played banjo in my old band's albums. Yeah, well, he's one of our best buddies, and he's a sick banjo player. So get on there, you know.
You know, and I was listening to the record. One of the things, the album is very consistent from start to finish. I really enjoyed the melody part of it, especially when it came to the chorus. That proggy, Queen-esque almost chorus sometimes, you know, really, you know, really get my attention, because it fits so nicely when it shouldn't, you know, when the music is so heavy, and then you have those, you know, crystal clear chorus almost. Does it take time to work on those, you know, those ideas? Because they are brilliant and very well done on these records.
Well, thank you, first of all. Yeah, it takes a minute to figure out, you know, what's going to go where. And, you know, again, it's just the way this band works. A lot of times we'll go in the studio and, you know, get there that day, and it's like, okay, we're working on this song, and I have no clue how anything's going to go. So it really is a process of, okay, you know, Biggs has these lyrics, we need a melody here, what's it going to be? And then that takes time to figure out. And that to speak to your question before, that's something that I had to get used to as well, because I'm generally like in the past, I would go into the studio with everything written, including the melodies. Yeah. But Rivers is very much, and you know, the result is great, because it's kind of like you know, that pressure. It results in it gets good results. Yeah, it takes time, but yeah. I don't know if that answered the question. I think it did.
Well, if it works, why change anyway? You know, it's just one of those things. If it works, just don't touch it, don't change it. And for you, you know, musically, how did your journey as a musician started? You know, what led for you to be a musician, a guitar player, you know, being in a band? Was always a dream when you were a kid? It just happened.
Yeah, man. So it kind of, I grew up in a household that I wouldn't say it was musical, because I think I'm the first musician in my family. I'm pretty sure. Hopefully I'm the last too. But no, my parents were big music fans. So I was surrounded by great music growing up. My parents had a big record collection. You know, my parents would take me to concerts when I was a kid, and I was just around a lot of music. And one day my dad asked me if I wanted a guitar, and I said, yeah, sure. And I probably didn't play it for a couple years. And then I was walking around my neighborhood, and I heard these dudes playing Metallica and Slayer songs in their house. They were brothers, and they were older than me. I remember being like, what the hell is that? So I knocked on their door, and I said, I have a guitar. I would like to learn to play it. Will you show me? And they did. And that's how I got started. Yeah. So, you know, but I wasn't in a band for a real long time. I think my first live show was probably when I was like 18 or something. And then I maybe played, I don't know, 20, 25 live shows. And then my first real band got signed, and I ended up going on tour opening for Behemoth.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. And this was 2014. So like I don't know, dude, it was like under my 30th live show was sold out show in Phoenix, where I live now. I didn't live here at the time. Opening for Behemoth, and it was terrifying.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I know a lot of guys that kind of grew up playing music in front of people, and I didn't do that. So I wish I had. There's a lot of value in. It's probably it's the most valuable thing you can do is go and play shows, because you can play all you want. I mean, people have said this thousands of times, but it's really true. Like, you can play as much as you want in your room, but in front of a crowd of people, everything's different, feels different. You know, your strings feel like spaghetti, you know, because you have so much adrenaline, and you know, but that's, I mean, you know, and then running in the same circles as Rivers for a long time. And, you know, we had talked over the years that if they ever needed a guitar player, that it would be me. And that, you know, so you know, there was no discussion about whether or not I was going to fill in or anything. Like, we knew what it was when it was time, and here we are, you know. So it's crazy how life works in that way. 'Cause it was meant to be.
Yeah. And, you know, you're mentioning live shows. Do you remember, you know, as you said, your parents took you to concerts.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, you know, that concert that really got your attention? I mean, probably not the first one. Maybe it was the first one. But what was the show, do you remember, that you were like, wow, this is, you know, something I would like to do, maybe?
Oh, that's another good question. My dad took me to so many great shows. He took me to every show I wanted to go to. And, you know, because my dad got into the music that I like with me. And I'm lucky enough to have seen some really great shit. My first show was Metallica. So obviously that's huge. Metallica's my favorite band. Metallica's everybody's favorite band. I saw Opeth, you know, many times at their peak. I saw Meshuggah many times at their peak. You know, Tool, Gojira. I saw Gojira's first live show in the United States. Man, you name it. My dad took me to see King Crimson. My dad took me to see John McLaughlin. My dad, you know, I've seen thousands of great shows. My dad took me to see Lamb of God film Philadelphia. Yeah. You know, like there's Mastodon. I saw Mastodon on Remission. Yeah. I could go on and on. I'm very lucky to have had the experience seeing the shows that I have. I've seen, man, all great shit.
And playing live, you know, you mentioned, you know, the experience of playing live. Have you ever played in front of a crowd where the people in front of you were really not into what's coming out because either you were a support act or for whatever reason? How does it feel when you're playing, you're giving your best, and the people in front of you don't care?
I mean, you know, that happens, and there's nothing you can do, right? Like, we did direct support. I mean, this is recent, you know, in 2020, late 2023, I think we did direct support for Lorna Shore in Europe, and it was a great opportunity. It was huge shows. The band is lovely. They deserve everything they have. So I'm not saying anything bad about that, but they were there to see Lorna Shore. Yeah. So you have balding, approaching 40-year-old men playing Where Owls Know My Name in front of 16-year-old girls that just want to see Will Ramos. And, you know, it's just, so, you know, you look out and there's people like asleep and shit, you know. But you just do it. And you know, I don't know. I mean, it's another cliche, but like, I've played shows to nobody. Yeah. So it's like a relativity thing. Like, you just go like, okay, well, we're here, you know, we're here. We're going to do the thing. Because another cliche, I'll use them all. You never know who's watching, you know? Yeah. So you have to just do the thing and get it done. And sometimes I'll, you know, maybe I'll spit beer on somebody who's sleeping or whatever, and we'll get through it, and they'll hate me forever.
But at least they won't forget about you.
No, I'm unforgettable.
And I'm going to ask a silly question, but the album is coming out at the end of May. How much are going to be the tariffs on these records?
They're going to be 4,000%. Yeah, the record, it's going to cost $8,000 for a CD.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Spotify, if you download it, it'll be $10,000, but we get 2 cents.
Yeah. It's, we could go on for about how much streaming is paying bands, but, do you think it's a lost fight for bands?
Yeah, I mean, this is like a very, big conversation, I guess, but like, it's, it's like society as a whole. It would take all of us to get together to do something about it. But I think in the end, the most that people are capable of is just fighting about it on the internet. That's the extent of what will happen. Societal change stops with the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the death of humanity.
Yeah. And, you guys are getting ready for the US tour. What are the plans until the rest for the remaining of the year and for next year? Another European run. What are the plans if there's anything you can talk about?
Sure. Yeah. So we're doing the US tour with Holy Fawn, Inner Arma, and Glacial Tomb. That's going to be sick. Those are all really cool bands. Really stoked to just get to see Holy Fawn. I'm a big fan. They're actually from Phoenix here. I've never met them. So we're doing that, and that'll be May and June. And then in August, we come back and do a bunch of European festivals. We're doing Bloodstock, we're doing Summer Breeze, we're doing Brutal Assault, bunch. I can't remember the rest.
Yeah.
And then we'll be doing off dates around that. So we'll be in Europe probably most of August. And that's the extent of stuff that I can confirm right now. I'm sure we'll do another US run in the fall. We'll probably be on tour until we're dead. So yeah, just keep an eye on that. But yeah, so we have the US and then the summer festivals right now.
Yeah,
I want to go to Japan real bad. I hope that we can make that happen.
Yeah, you mentioned Bloodstock. Bloodstock is a lovely festival. I used to go there, almost every year. But, for the last couple of years, just becoming too expensive to go to fly to England and rent a car, hotel, and all that shit.
Sure.
But it's an amazing festival. Very friendly. People that work there are great. Great environment. It's probably, I've been to Wacken in the past. I've been to Download. I've done some festivals around here in Europe, obviously in Portugal as well. And Bloodstock was probably the best overall for.
Hey, you're selling it pretty good, man.
Yeah. And, I think you guys are going to enjoy it. It hopefully won't be raining.
Well, that day we're on the main stage with Gojira, so I don't care if it's raining at all. I'm just happy to be there.
It's going to be a great day for sure. Anyway, Andy, thank you very much for your time. All the best for Rivers of Nihil. The new record is really, really good. Absolutely love the songs on this album. They're going to sound amazing live for sure. Hopefully you guys will come back to Portugal, play a show on a bigger European run or something. So, fingers crossed for that. And
I have never played Portugal. I've never played, and I've been to Portugal, but only in the airport. And then I look around and I'm like, man, this looks beautiful. I'd like to see it. And I've never gotten to play. So hopefully you're right. Hopefully we do get to.
Yeah, we need to make a European tour with a stop in Portugal so you have time to appreciate the city. Lisbon or Porto.
2 days off.
Yeah, 2 days off. Lisbon or Porto, it's going to be nice. You're going to love it. People love the food, love the wine.
I'm sure.
Normally the weather, not now. The weather sucks today.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Andy, thank you very much for your time. All the best for Rivers of Nihil, and hope to see you soon. All right?
Hey, same to you, brother. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.